Occurred, February 19, 1974, 3 o'clock location. Indianapolis, Indiana. Shape, disk duration, 5 seconds. Rapid moving high altitude glowing orange disk moves from horizon to horizon in about 5 seconds. I looked up on a clear, cold, starry night while on the driveway preparing to get in my car. I saw a glowing bright orange circular object which I assume was a disk as I was looking at the circular bottom. The object appeared to be as high up as typical airplane altitudes, but I was unable to judge the size of the object. It made no sound and left no trail. The object came from the western horizon and disappeared into the eastern horizon in about 5 seconds.
Occurred, August 16, 1975, 2100 location, Indianapolis, Indiana. Shape, triangle duration, 2 minutes. Characteristics. There were lights on the object. Triangular object. Got within 200 feet, stopped in mid-air, took off like a rocket and disappeared, never made any noise. Seen but did not hear it approaching from about half a mile away. It proceeded to get within 200 feet at about 75 feet off the ground with no noise. What severity was triangular in shape, dark gray or black in color, with a light on each of its 3 tips. It was probably only going 20 miles per hour. Once it got as close it was going to get, it stopped and just hung there in mid-air and no noise was present. It stayed there for about 20 seconds or so, then with no noise it proceeded to go in a straight line, probably at a 45-degree angle towards the horizon, due south. And without slowing down, it shot out at a 90-degree angle at a super fast rate of speed and just plain disappeared. Noise while this was going on. Me and my buddy were at the end of our street playing when we seen this sighting. We were 14 years old at the time.
Occurred, December 23, 1978, 2200 location, Indianapolis, Indiana. Shape, disk duration, 2 minutes. Characteristics. There were lights on the object. 2 disc-shaped craft hovering over city night, forms defined by red, successive lights illuminating edges, suddenly shoot skyward as I was driving west on 30th Street, Indianapolis. West side, I turned off the major 2-lane thoroughfare onto a winding residential street. I glances up and saw red blinking lights lighting in succession, with the 2 circular, disc-shaped crafts being defined by the red lights. I stopped the car and pulled to the curb to try to make sense of the phenomenon, when both crafts, hovering together at about 500 to 800 featuring, suddenly went vertical, maybe somewhat angled away, and quickly disappeared into the night sky. I heard no sounds.
Occurred, the 1st of January 1981 o'clock location, Indianapolis, Indiana. Shape, light duration, 7 minutes. Characteristics. The object emitted beams. Very bright green light without sound moved over me and my car from a wooded area about a 1,000 featuring up. I had just left my brother's house on New Year's Eve late that night. The new year had been in only about an hour. As I got about a mile away from my brother's home, I noticed this very bright light in the distance, coming out of the sky and going down to the ground. I didn't pay it any attention until I got closer to the source about 2 more miles towards home. As I came up on this main street, this bright light came out of the sky again, and I thought it was a police helicopter on some kind of patrol. But then, I noticed, there was no noise coming from the light at all, and the light was green, and it was glowing on me, my whole car, and around the area I and my car was in, about a 20-feet area. I looked at my car, and it was green inside and out, and freeing all over me. It was so strange because no one else won on the mostly busy road but me. The quite bright green light withdrew back up in the air to the source, and then vanished. One of the strange things of it was there was a great silence during the whole thing, no noise of any motor, just silent. Later in that week, I noticed others on the TV news across the nation noticed the very same thing as I did, the bright light with a green glow that was too bright to look at. I didn't tell my wife about it till about a month later.
Occurred, the 6th of January 1982, 2000 location, Indianapolis, en route to Lima, OH, in shape, circle. Characteristics. There were lights on the object. 1980s circular UFO seen while driving. This happened back in the early 80s. 81 to 82-ish. My grandfather, uncle and I were driving back to Lima, Ohio from a stamp and coin show in Indianapolis, Indiana. It was already dark out, not sure of the season, but I don't recall it being winter. We were on the highway, I believe it's Highway 70, and I was sleeping in the back seat of the car. I was awakened by the sound of my grandfather and uncle talking about something they were looking at. I leaned forward over the front seat and saw a large circular object in the sky. It had white lights on the bottom and red lights on its sides. It might have been red on bottom and white on the sides. It was long ago. You could tell by the movement of the lights that the object was spinning. My grandfather tried to tell me it was a small plane pulling a lit-up banner, but even at 11 to 12 years old I knew what we were seeing. I had a chance to talk to my uncle about this even earlier this year at a reunion, and he said, "I don't know what that was, but it was not a plane pulling a banner. We told you that so you wouldn't be frightened."
Occurred, June 30, 1983. Location, Indianapolis, Indiana. Shape, characteristics. This is a possible UFO abduction case. Missing time was experienced. Marks found on body afterwards. Kathy Davis abduction at Kitley Woods. Bud Hopkins, the subject of the book and TV movie, Intruders, was allegedly abducted near Indianapolis.
Occurred, the 8th of January 1987. 000 Location, Indianapolis, 150 miles SW. In shape, light duration, 2 minutes. I saw a reddish-colored orb that was observing lighting show thunderstorms, and it displayed 2 amazing climbs and a huge burst of speed. I was the captain, flying a 4-engine turbine-powered aircraft, L-188, at flight level 230, 23,000 feet, inbound toward Indianapolis, Indiana. Thence cleared to featuring Wayne for the Detroit Star, featuring Wayne transition into Ypsilanti, Willow Run Airport, Mich. That's a standard terminal arrival route. I was on a heading of about 030 degrees. Both my first officer and flight engineer were doing other duties when I first spotted traffic at my 1100 position, 10 miles and slightly below me. As captain, I always kept the red instrument panel lighting at an absolute minimum setting so as to have the best visibility outside. I first spotted a cranberry red light. It appeared as if it were just another aircraft in the clear night sky, no shape or size, just a red light in level steady flight about 4,000 feet below me and 10 miles to my left, moving left to right at a steady speed of about 400 knots, about the same speed I was doing. The size of the light was just like any other aircraft's rotating beacon or light, but this was a constant steady light, not like a normal pulsating rotating beacon that aircraft are required to have. I noticed it was headed straight towards a large thunderstorm cloud that was at my 1 o'clock position and 10 miles. This thunderstorm had constant and consistent in-cloud to in-cloud lighting strikes that really was lighting up the large cloud like a Chinese lantern. The red light kept a steady 400 knot speed aiming right at the storm cloud. Then when it got to within 200 yards of the thundercloud itself, the red light changed course from 110-degree direction to a 250-degree direction, instantly, still maintaining the constant 400 knot speed. It didn't turn, like an aircraft makes a turn, it just changed course, instantly, like a cursor on a computer is capable of doing when you jerk your mouse control quickly left to right. Now it was heading straight towards a long line of constant lighting thunderstorms, or squall line, that was at my 9 o'clock position and about 20 miles off my left wingtip. As I watched the light move at a constant speed from my right to my left directly in front of me, it suddenly climbed at a perfect 45-degree up angle, leveled off for about 2 miles and then climbed again at a perfect 45-degree up angle without any change in speed either time, to an altitude about 3,000 feet above me. It then turned slightly right to a heading of about 250 degrees straight toward a point just in front of the first of a long line of constant lighting thunderstorms. As soon as the red orb got established on the new heading towards the all-lit-up lightning squall line to my left, this red light went from its 400 knot speed to, I'm going to guess, between 2,000 to 3,000 miles per hour for about 1 long second, then it again immediately went back to its slower 400 knot constant speed again. It covered that 20-mile distance in just over a second. Someone should be able to turn that into a speed in miles per hour. It didn't accelerate up to that speed and it didn't decelerate back to the slower speed again. It just made an instant jump from a slow 400 knots to a really fast 3,000 knot speed, for just over a second, covering the 20-mile distance and then immediately back to the same slower speed of about 400 knots. It was amazing to watch. After being an airline captain for over 10 years, I have never ever, before or since, seen an object under such obvious control that maneuvered and changed speed instantly, at will, so they could maneuver to and observe the constant and consistent thunderstorm light show display. I watched it make one more turn to its left, a heading of about 190 degrees so as to parallel this long line of constant light shows off to its right side. It was then behind me to my 8 o'clock position. I brought the attention of my other 2 crew members just before the red light made its 2 45-degree climbs. They saw that but couldn't see to jump in speed and jump back in speed because it was off to the left side of our aircraft. It was under something's control, sightseeing at thunderstorm light shows in the night, making 45-degree climbs and capable of unknown speeds that amazed me to the point that I only thought was to turn off my rotating beacon, navigation wingtip lights to hide my aircraft in the dark from its view. But I didn't even think to call Indy ARTCC and ask if they had it on their radar. My 2 other crew members really didn't grasp what I quickly brought to their attention. It all was over in 2 minutes. I saw something amazing. I don't know what it was. I just hope it was from Earth. I was an ATP, flying 4-engine aircraft all over North, South America and Europe, for about 30 of my 40 years aviation life, and I never even came close to having an accident. I was lucky to always fly well-maintained aircraft. That's my story.